Las Vegas is one of those type of places that has always been a unique and unusual place for a performer to present his shows. And on top of that, the worldwide audience everywhere around the world, they know about Las Vegas. And they know that if you're good enough to play in Las Vegas, you're good enough to play anywhere. I got an opportunity one time, and I met a very influential man there. His name was Walter Kane. He became another mentor of mine. Walter Kane was famous to the world because he was Howard Hughes' kind of right-hand man. They had 6 hotels, Howard Hughes had. And at first, he wasn't convinced that Roy or country music would be good in the Frontier, the Desert Inn, or the Sands. But they had another hotel called the Landmark. It was a block off the Strip. And I'm sitting there having dinner with Mr. Kane, watching Roy's opening show, and they play all the music and the fanfare and stuff like that. And on Mr. Kane's desk, he had a red telephone, just like this. When that phone rang, it was either an emergency or it was Howard Hughes calling. Tonight, this red phone rang. He picked it up. He turned ashen white, and he looked at me and said, "Oh, we have a really problem." He said, "Robert Goulet is opening at the Frontier tonight, and he's become sick, and he's not going to be able to open. The crowd's already in there. They've already been fed the dinners. So we're going to have to be a free show." I said, "I don't know what to do. Everybody's going to be disappointed. What can we do?" And he was just, kind of like this. And I said, "Well, let's take Roy over." He got 3 or 4 standing ovations. I mean, the people are yelling and screaming and throwing babies in the air. And it was amazing. Well, we convinced Mr. Kane. That convinced him. He not only appreciated the gesture of all of us just pitching in and saving the night for him, but the fact that Roy was a huge success with that audience was just, that's all it took. So from then on, we had all kinds of shows that we booked on the Strip. We were the first to really take country music to the Las Vegas Strip. The Oak Ridge Boys and the Forrester Sisters at Caesar's Palace. Roy Clark and Reba McEntire at MGM. Bill Medley, the Righteous Brothers at the Frontier. Lee Greenwood was, I think, at the Sands. Tammy Wynette was at the DI. We had all of our acts. We had 18 of our acts, all the headliners and acts that were supporting that came in. And we had 6 of the major hotels. We had Roy booked in the Frontier Hotel in Las Vegas, and before his show, we were sitting down and watching the news one evening. This was 1974, and it showed this group of Russian dignitaries getting off the plane in Seattle, Washington, attending the World's Fair there. And they were talking about what their trip had been and how interesting it was. And the commentator said, "Is there any place you want to go that you haven't been?" And the leader of the group said, "Yes, we wanted to go to Las Vegas, but it's not on our schedule."
Jim is the one that came up. He said, "Why don't we invite them down here, down to Vegas?" And so we all got to mingling together and talking, and they were saying, "Why don't you come to our country? We'd like to have you come to our country, and we will show you the same hospitality that you have graciously showed us." And that, you could see the light go off in Jim Halsey's mind.
When we looked at that audience, before the first note was played or sung, it was a cold, hostile audience. They were there. They didn't like Americans. They were afraid we were going to bomb them at any minute. They had a whole attitude. And Roy said to everybody, he said, "We're going to go out there and entertain those people and show them what America is really about. It's about love and friendship, and we're here to tell those people that we're their friends." And before that show was even halfway through, those people were clapping and applauding. And for America, Roy Clark and the Oak Ridge Boys, Buck Trent and that whole troop, probably made more friends in that 3 weeks' time than any other diplomatic procedures that had ever happened before. Without any political message at all, our message was friendship and harmony. That was a big changing point in my life because I realized that we really can do some good. Being discovered boils down to just two things: being seen and heard. Seen and heard by someone that can do something for you. It's just that simple. If you're good, pretty soon there's going to be somebody that you're playing in front of that can do something for you. I didn't discover Hank Thompson, but Hank Thompson discovered me. Through Hank, I was able to discover Wanda Jackson. From Wanda, she introduces me to Roy Clark.
Jim Halsey, who was Roy Clark's manager, had seen the old Mazeppa show at Channel 6, and he came by one day and said, big old Cadillac and, you know, diamond rings that diverted airline traffic. And I thought, who's this guy? You know, I mean, this is wild. You know? And he said, well, he introduced himself, a very nice man. But I just thought he was crazy. I mean, he said, how would you like to be on HEO? And I said, well, I don't know, it's pretty corny. And, you know, oh no, I'll just do what's up. And I said, what kind of money could a fellow make on it? He says, well, let's see, it's after scale is, I think, $600 a show. And I, you know, I passed out. And when I was revived, I signed up. You know, 'cause that was more than I'd make in a year here, you know.
One night at home, I was actually down by the pool, cleaning the pool, and my wife came out on the balcony of our house. I've got a second-story home, and she says, Jim, this is like 9 o'clock at night. She says, Time Magazine is calling you from New York. Wow, I couldn't get up that hill fast enough because, I mean, maybe it's about the Judds, maybe it's about Reba or Roy or the Oaks or, you know, a combination of, maybe it's even about our company. You know, talking about all and putting these things together. By the time I got to the top of the hill, my heart was just pounding. I don't know whether I was going to be able to talk to him or not. You know, this is Jim Halsey. Jim Halsey, this is Sue Ann from Time Magazine in New York City. We have a special offer on subscription we want to offer you. I said, what? Yes, now we can get you Time Magazine for 50% off the cover price if you'll order tonight. And on top of that, we'll send you a pocket radio. Well, I tell you, we get so wrapped up in what we're doing, we think it's all about us. And we think it's all about our artists and our company and that. And he said, it wasn't tonight. But the thing is, I'm a dreamer. So why not dream that? If Time Magazine is calling me at 9 o'clock at night, why don't I dream that they're going to use my artist or have a cover or something? I became interested in teaching young people about the business because a lot of people that came into the Jim Halsey company didn't have experience in the music business, but maybe they were selling for a radio station or they were selling automobiles or they had that ability to sell and that ability to network and meet people, but they didn't know anything about the music business. So we'd have to have a short course of what it's about and why it's important, records and how you make money with records and music publishing and how you make money with the song. So I decided I was going to sell my company and become involved in teaching on a full-time basis. It was fulfilling for me to help and teach young people, and this is where I met Scott Booker. He came over and did our class at the Halsey Institute. He taught at Oklahoma City University. And he's one of the brightest young managers that I know, and really creative. And he passed a lot of that on. Now I notice that he's, you know, involved in teaching as well. And I think all of us in any kind of business, after we've gone so far, if we've been successful, we'd like to pass that on to other people, to young people, or old people either, you know, that want to change their way of livelihood and do something else. So I'm gratified that I have a chance to do that. I had an old Indian medicine man tell me one time to always follow my dreams. He said, when you stop following your dreams, you'll stop having them. I'm still following my dreams today.